Welcome back to the FitRev podcast. In this video, we're going to be breaking down what advertising strategies make sense for your facility. So whether you're a large group gym, small group gym, personal training studio, or somewhere in between, you're going to understand what makes the most sense for you to finally bring in new members consistently and profitably. We're going to be going over Facebook ads, Google ads, just so you can understand conceptually when it makes sense to actually run these things and how to think about them, because you can waste so much time with the wrong information, testing the wrong things, spending a ton of money, a ton of time, a ton of effort, and not actually doing the things that are going to move the needle. So in this video, we're going to break that all down so you're going to leave with ultimate clarity on what you need to do to grow your gym predictably. All right, let's start with Facebook. So we're just going to go through the platforms here. We're just going to call this Meta. Okay. Now the important thing to understand about Meta is it's an interruption based platform. What does that mean? It means people are scrolling through, they're consuming videos on their feed, and we want to interrupt that scroll with something attractive. Okay. So when we think of Meta, we think of interruption. Facebook and Instagram, we need to interrupt them. What's the important way to do that, or what's the most effective way to do that? We need an offer. Okay. So we need an offer that makes sense for our facility, that someone's scrolling in our local area, we stop their scroll, we hit them with an offer that they actually want, and then they fill out their info, they come in, and they buy from you. Okay. So whenever we think about Meta, we need to understand it's an interruption-based platform, and therefore we need an attractive offer. We're going to get into the offers that make sense for your type of facility here in a second, but that's the important distinction. So Facebook or Instagram, we're interrupting, we need a good offer. The last thing here is I'm going to put one money sign. We typically start all our gyms on Meta. So Facebook and Instagram ads, because it's cheaper to acquire a customer. When we're actually spending money on Facebook, we're spending money just to reach people in our local area. As opposed to Google ads, which we'll get into here in a second, you're spending money to bid on keywords and bid on what's called intent. People that have searched for personal trainer near me, gym near me, boot camp near me, whatever it is, it's going to actually cost us more to get in front of the same amount of people with a Google ad, right? So we always start over on Meta so that we can get something predictable with a scalable acquisition model where we know, hey, it's going to cost us $100 to get a new client, $200 to get a new client. And if we sell them for more than that, then we're good to go and we can scale that way. Then we'll layer in Google ads after that once we have a proven model over on Meta. Okay, so that's Meta. Let's delete this and let's go into Google. Okay, we do run Google ads. A lot of our gyms aren't quite there yet, or it just takes a little bit of time to get to the level where you should run Google ads. But this is not an interruption-based platform. This is intent-based, right? People are searching personal trainer near me, local boot camp near me, personal trainer, insert city or area, right, or county. Okay, so we're showing intent and we're trying to capitalize on that intent. We're basically putting our ads in front of people that have searched for those terms. Okay. Now, the important thing here is, yes, the lead quality can be better, right? For a couple of reasons. They've shown intent, but the important thing to understand is they might actually only be in the research phase. Okay. And the biggest distinction here is we're actually paying per click, okay? So PPC, we're paying to get our ads in front of these people that have shown intent, but oftentimes these people are just researching, right? And unfortunately, when we bid on one of those keywords, right, personal trainer near me, whether or not we get a lead or get a new buyer, we're still paying for that click, right? And so that click sometimes in some markets can cost us $30, $40, $50 just to get someone to your website that then says, this isn't for me, right? Or I'm looking for something different. And you already spent your entire budget for that day, which is why, again, we like to keep everyone over on Meta because it's more predictable, more scalable. We only layer in Google when we have something proven over on Meta, okay? So important distinctions there. All right, before we get into the offers that make sense for your type of facility, whether it's large group, small group, PT, we're going to go over the two types of offers that we run in our gyms, okay? So what those are is pretty simple, transparent, and we run non-transparent, okay? So it's important to understand the differences. What's a transparent offer? Transparent just means that the price is on the ad, right? We're mainly talking about price on ad, okay? What does it do when we put the price on the ad? Well, number one, it's going to deter people that don't want to pay that price, right? So we end up filtering out a lot of tire kickers that probably wouldn't be a good fit for our facility anyway. What we also do is we end up getting a really high quality lead because you're giving them all the information, right? So imagine one of the main offers that we run is a 6-week transformation program, and we'll price it depending on the market and the model anywhere from like $200 to $400 transparently to the market, right? And so someone seeing a $400 price point, yes, that's going to deter a lot of people, but it's also going to attract a lot of the right people. And so someone that sees that price point and still opts in and gives you their name, email, phone number and says, yes, I want this thing, chances are they're basically ready to go. I've had gyms close people for a $400 offer because it was positioned transparently. They just text them, hey, is this so-and-so? Cool, here's the checkout link, right? You start on Monday. So it can be that easy. What we get with transparent offers is quality, super high quality leads, okay? Now, what do we get with non-transparent? We get more work. Not necessarily a bad thing. Now, why would we run non-transparent offers when transparent works so well? The only reason is if your price point is too high to run a transparent offer. And so that threshold seems to be $300-$400. Anything above that, if we start putting out a price point of $500, $600, $1,000, $2,000 on a front end offer to a cold audience on Facebook ads, we're just going to get no opt-ins because those price points warrant a sales conversation. Okay. So what do we do with gyms that run a PT first model or our PT studio and they want to sell people on a 12-week program at $3,000? Unfortunately, we have to run a non-transparent ad. So we might position that 12-week program as a really high-end solution. The landing page will look really high quality. The ad creative needs to look really high quality. So anytime we run a non-transparent ad, if we want to attract the right people that are going to pay those prices, we absolutely need high quality ad creative, and we need high quality landing pages built so that the perception is, I know this is going to be expensive, but I still want it, right? So really important to understand transparent versus non-transparent when we run them for what type of facility. We'll get into that right now, okay? So let's clear this. Let's talk about just the gold standard, okay? The gold standard offer is transparent price in line with ongoing. Okay, so as much as we can in every facility that we work with, we try to run a transparent offer in line with their ongoing pricing. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if you're a large group studio and you charge $200 per month, there we go, that still fits, $200 per month, can we run a intro offer that is maybe 4 weeks or 6 weeks for $200? What that's going to do is attract a person that is willing to pay $200 and therefore most likely willing to pay $200 a month ongoing. So as much as we can for this gold standard offer, we want transparent pricing in line with your ongoing pricing, okay? So keeping that in mind, if we're a large group, maybe you charge $200, like we said, $200 per month. We could do a 6-week program at $200 to even $300, and that would make it more like a downsell for people continuing after the initial program, right? Now, that's a great place to start. You could also go lower, higher with the price point, depending on what you want to do. But this is really the main thing. If you're a large group facility, if you're a CrossFit and you charge $160 a month, do a 4-week or 6-week introductory program for $200, and you're going to have easy downsells into ongoing membership. Okay. Same thing for a general large group gym. That $200 to $300 price range, that's really where you want to be. Okay. So that's large group. Small group. Okay. Small group is charging anywhere from $300 to, I've seen it as high as $800 a month for small group personal training with an individually designed program. That high level of service, we're going to struggle to get people to continue at those price points if we put out an offer that was, $200 for an intro program, and then we tried to keep them at $300, $400, $500, $600 per month. So what do we do instead? We like to price intro sessions. Okay, so maybe you do a $47 movement mobility assessment. Maybe you do a $47 strength and movement assessment. Maybe you help people get out of pain. We try to price this intro session at what it costs per one session, right? So if someone's willing to pay $50 for an intro session, are they willing to pay $50 a session ongoing? Now, we've tested this in a ton of markets, a bunch of times, different ad angles, different types of assessments or intro sessions, and we've had zero issue in any market selling a multi-$1,000 program on the back end of this $47 session, right? It can even be $47 to $97. We have some markets doing $97 for that intro session, okay? Now, what else can you do? Well, if you're on the lower end of that spectrum for small group personal training and you're charging $300, $400 a month, which is a great business, by the way. So you could do a $400 or a $300 6-week program, okay? So we have a bunch of gyms that charge $350, $400 a month. We run a program called Foundations. It's a 6-week foundations program for adults who feel like they're out of shape and don't know where to turn. And a small group model really fits that avatar, right? So we put that foundations program at $300, run ads to it. We get really high quality leads, and we typically in most markets get sales for less than $300. So essentially we're just making all the money back that we're spending on ads and putting it right back into the business, okay? So that's small group. Now, if you're a PT or PT first, so PT is obviously if you're just doing personal training. If you're PT first, then you're doing personal training and then you get people into a small group environment after that, okay? So if that's you, you can run the assessment, or we could go a non-transparent 12-week program, okay? Now this needs to be positioned really high-end. We need super high-quality ad creative. We need professionally done testimonials if we want this thing to work. That's so convincing and just feels very high-end, so it's attracting the right people, okay? Now, we have gyms that run ads to this 12-week program, and they charge $3,000 for it on the front end, okay? And we're getting sales for around $500, meaning people are paying $3,000, and it's costing us $500 to do so, right? So if you're a really high-end facility and you have to do PT first, or if you're just a PT studio, you can run this 12-week program. I would say lowest hanging fruit, you're going to get probably a cheaper cost per acquisition if you do an assessment at $47 if you're just a PT studio, okay? So if that's you, I would start with the assessment. Our highest end gyms are doing PT first, and they're starting with a 12-week program, okay? These are the best gyms in every market. We work with a lot of them. A lot of them are doing 7 figures, and this really needs to be dialed in in terms of ad creative, high quality video testimonials before this thing is going to actually work. Okay. So if you're not there yet, just do the assessment. That's going to get people in for that first session. Then you can ascend them from there. Okay. All right. So that is the offers for each model. Now, when should you actually start marketing? When should you start paying money for ads, right? When do I start? Okay. Now, I think every single gym owner can get to $10,000 per month organically. Okay. The only reason, let's delete that. The only reason we say 10K plus is just because you're playing a paid acquisition game. You're paying money, you're spending money on ads and hoping that turns into more money. There can be a lot of testing. There can be different offers. You're going to spend a lot of time, energy, money on making this thing work and getting the right formula. So we really need to be above 10K a month, and we really want a budget of about 1K a month. Okay. So if you can get your gym to 10K a month, or if you can just get to a point where you're like, all right, I can spend $1,000 a month and it can not come back to me, but I can learn, I can test, and I can find the right recipe for my market, then I think you can definitely start running ads. Now, the ideal goal is customer finance acquisition. If you ever listen to Hormozy, he talks about this all the time. It's basically spending money to acquire a customer, but making more money on the sale than it costs you to get that customer. For example, a $400 6-week transformation program, it costs us $100 to get a client. That's just a money printer at that point, right? So we say that you need this marketing budget just because it can take a little bit of a ramp up period when you find that correct formula of ad creative, ad copy, landing pages that convert, and the right offer. But once you do that, we really want to hit CFA. We really want to be printing money. We want to be spending money and then making more on the back end. Okay. So really important to understand, like, when do I start? Man, if you can't get to like 10K a month organically, you're probably not serving your clients at a super high level. You're probably not getting enough referrals. You know, everyone should be able to get there, or you're just running the wrong model. You maybe need to think about switching to a small group model or a personal training first model just to get more revenue. Okay. So everyone can get there organically. If you're not, that's a topic for another video on, serving people at a higher level. But other than that, hope that helps. Hope you understand the differences between Facebook ads, Google ads, what offers are going to work for your facility, understanding transparent versus non-transparent offers. And that should get you off to a great start, at least to not get into trouble, right? At least to not go hire an agency that is going to charge $2,000 a month, and then you're paying ad spend, and then they're not running something that makes sense for you. So if you guys need help, you can always go to Fitrevconsulting.com. Check us out. We have our flagship program, Gym CEOs, where we coach you on your entire business, and we teach you everything you need to know about marketing, even in some cases run your ads for you. And so if you need additional help, check us out. Go to our website, fill out the form,